Eustace Conway is the kind of guy who grabs your attention and doesn't let go. A rugged icon who's been stealing the spotlight for over a decade on the History Channel's Mountain Men, where he lives out his fierce commitment to self-reliance and old-school values. This isn't just a TV gig for him. It's a way of life, a testament to his grit through every storm, whether it's howling winds in the wilderness or the chaos of public scrutiny. Yet, this quiet, unshakable man is now stirring up a global buzz, stepping out of his usual backwoods rhythm for something big. Why would he shift gears after all this time? What's so crucial that he'd tweak his hardcore lifestyle? The answer might just blow you away or even spark something in you. Eustace Conway is finally spilling the beans, and it's a story worth hearing. Born on September 15, 1961, as Eustace Robinson Conway in Columbia, South Carolina, he comes from a lineage of trailblazers. His grandfather, Chief Johnson, was a legend who started Camp Sequoia in 1924, practically inventing the American camping scene. His parents, Eustace Conway III, a chemical engineering professor, and Karen Conway, who grew up in a log cabin at Sequoia, were no strangers to hard work and nature's lessons. They raised Eustace and his three siblings, Walton, Judson, and Martha, in a world where learning came from roaming the wild. Every day, a new quest in the great outdoors. By 1977, at just 17, Eustace said peace out to suburban life and moved into a teepee, a cone-shaped, hide-covered shelter straight out of Native American tradition in the Appalachian Mountains. This wasn't some weekend camping stunt. It was a full-on commitment to living off the land. For over 20 years, he thrived out there, sparking fires with sticks, wearing clothes he crafted from animals he hunted and tanned, and mastering skills that echoed the days of ancient survivalists. While other teens were cramming for college or chasing typical jobs, Eustace was out there testing his mettle against nature's toughest challenges. His story caught the eye of journalist Elizabeth Gilbert, who'd been writing for big-name outlets and was carving out a name for her knack for storytelling. She met him in 1993 and spent years digging into his life, eventually publishing The Last American Man in 2002, a book that scored a National Book Award finalist spot and launched Eustace into the national spotlight. Through his journey, Gilbert explored big ideas like what it means to be a man in America and the tug-of-war between materialism and living simply, painting Eustace as a guy who rejected modern comforts but still had to tangle with the world he shunned. His story also hit the airwaves on NPR's This American Life in a segment called Adventures in the Simple Life, narrated by Sarah Vowell. The producers were hooked after hearing about his epic 3,000-mile horseback trek from the Atlantic to the Pacific in just 103 days, recorded on a handheld tape recorder that captured his raw thoughts. Host Ira Glass knew it was radio gold, letting listeners hear Eustace unpack his philosophy on ditching modern life and mastering practical skills. In 1987, Eustace founded Turtle Island Preserve, a 1,000-acre haven near Boone, North Carolina, where he could live tech-free and teach others to do the same. Inspired by his grandfather's Camp Sequoia, which started with 27 boys learning hiking, canoeing, and spiritual connection to nature, Eustace's Preserve became a nonprofit hub for hands-on learning. Volunteers and visitors flocked there to experience farm life, tend gardens, and hike trails, with summer camps for kids and year-round workshops teaching rare skills like building shelters or growing food. Guests are carefully selected to keep things intentional, and campers live in tents or log cabins, waking early for chores and soaking up lessons from a world most have forgotten. Turtle Island's been running strong for over 25 years, carrying on Chief Johnson's legacy despite countless hurdles. Eustace isn't just some reality TV star. He's a symbol of a life less ordinary, sparking debates about whether his ways are genius or impractical. For him, sustainability isn't about fancy eco-tech. It's about stripping life down to essentials: food, shelter, water, clothes, and reconnecting with the earth we've drifted away from. At Turtle Island, he helps people ditch the clutter of modern life and find clarity in nature's rhythm, arguing that our anxiety stems from living in a fake world of concrete and consumerism, cut off from the seasons and real connections. His workshops teach folks to build with local materials, raise livestock, and grow their own grub, showing that sustainability is about working with nature, not bending it to your will. Eustace's big dream? Making the world better, one skill at a time. When Mountain Men premiered on May 31st, 2012, Eustace became a core cast member alongside survivalists like Tom, Orr, and Marty Maiorotto, showcasing his life at Turtle Island. The show followed folks living off-grid across America, capturing their battles with weather, wildlife, and the basics of survival. But right as the cameras started rolling, Eustace hit a rough patch. Watauga County officials slammed Turtle Island with building code violations for its rustic structures. The preserve's log cabins and open-air shelters, built to mimic primitive living, didn't meet modern safety standards like plumbing or fire resistance. And since it hosted public programs, the county classified it as a public facility. They shut down visitor access, cutting off Eustace's main income and threatening his mission. Fans feared this would tank the show's debut, but it actually became a gripping part of his storyline, showing the real-world struggles of his unconventional life. Unlike other cast members focused on hunting or trapping, Eustace brought depth, teaching everything from crafting tools to finding joy in nature. His intellectual take and National Book Award cred made him stand out, and viewers ate it up, seeing him as the real deal. But fame's always been a tricky fit for him. In a GQ interview, he admitted wrestling with the demands of TV, which clashed with his principles and his work at Turtle Island. Filming helped pay the bills, but it forced compromises he wasn't thrilled about, and he's hinted at quitting more than once. Fans got nervous when he vanished from Season 11 in 2022, sparking retirement rumors. But he returned for Season 12 in August 2023, proving he wasn't done yet. Sources suggest his absence tied to new ventures, like flipping houses and creating Airbnb rentals with an Appalachian vibe, showing he was finding fresh ways to fund his dreams without leaning solely on TV. By 2025, at 64, Eustace juggles running Turtle Island, his real estate gigs, and sporadic Mountain Men appearances, balancing his roots with the modern world he once swore off. He's even shared regrets about not starting a family, telling GQ it's now his deepest wish, a sign his priorities have shifted with age. The 2012 code violations weren't his only headache. That same year, he got arrested for second-degree trespassing after a neighbor claimed he crossed their land without permission. Eustace called it a misunderstanding, and the charge was dropped in April 2013 for lack of evidence, but it piled on the stress. The building code fight dragged on, with inspectors flagging dirt floors, open flames, and unprocessed logs as unsafe for public use. Eustace argued his setups were meant to teach primitive living, not mimic suburban homes, but the county held firm, citing public safety. Supporters rallied, writing letters, signing petitions, and arguing that modern codes didn't fit wilderness education. Critics called the rules outdated for off-grid setups, while officials insisted they were just doing their job. The tide turned when North Carolina passed House Bill 774 in 2013, exempting primitive camps from strict codes. Eustace worked with officials to meet remaining health and safety rules, reopening Turtle Island, but tensions linger. He sees the county as a barrier to his vision, while they view the preserve as a public space under scrutiny. Still, Eustace doesn't just fight back. He collaborates, attending meetings, inviting inspectors, and pushing for policy changes to protect sustainable living. He's added fire extinguishers, tweaked designs, and applied for permits, proving he's open to compromise without losing his core beliefs. Mountain Men itself reflects a broader shift at the History Channel, which moved from dry documentaries to gritty reality shows like Pawn Stars in 2009, tapping into lives rarely seen on TV. The network saw gold in stories of pawn shops, swamp hunters, and off-grid survivors, greenlighting Mountain Men for its mix of education and drama. The show's format, problem, reaction, resolution, keeps viewers hooked, blending raw footage of chopping wood or skinning prey with confessional interviews for emotional depth. Filming is no picnic, with small crews camping in harsh conditions, capturing real struggles while staging some scenes for clarity. The cast, from Montana to Maine, brings diverse skills and personalities, keeping each season fresh. Ratings have held strong, with millions tuning in over the years, though some critics argue it oversimplifies rural life or romanticizes survival. Others question its authenticity, pointing to edited narratives or staged moments, but producers defend it as necessary for coherent storytelling. For Eustace, the show's been a megaphone for his message, growing his fandom and fueling Turtle Island's mission. Whether you buy into his vision of ditching modern life for nature's embrace or think it's a bit out there, Eustace Conway's story challenges you to rethink what matters. So, what do you think of his way of life? Drop your thoughts below, share this story, and check out more tales of grit and glory.